Zeenat ji, it is absolute honor to have you on Just a Conversation. Someone who is larger than life, such as yourself, does not need an introduction. Thus, we are going to jump right in. Has there ever been a role that you played you were intimidated by?
Hello, Anjali. Hello, Somy. It's so wonderful to be here with you, participating in this interview. I love the title, just a conversation, because everything starts with a conversation in life as well.
Exactly.
So,
Thank you for being here.
so has there been a role that I've been intimidated by? No, not really, because acting is a craft. And if there's anything you don't know or don't understand, you do the research, or you speak to the writer, you speak to the director, and to do what you have to do. Just before the pandemic, I was doing theatre, and the name of the play was Dearest Bapu, Love Kasturba. Now, that was a role that was, it was challenging, because I was playing a real person, Kasturba Gandhi, and doing the research on her and finding out about her, and then trying to bring some of her nuances into the performance. That was slightly daunting, but exciting. Yeah. We did just 4 shows because, then the pandemic happened and the theaters were closed. Yeah.
So that's theater, right?
That's theater, not cinema. Cinema is not, it's much easier, I think.
I think so too. You get to do retakes.
Yes. And if there's anything you don't understand, you have, your director on standby.
Absolutely. So let me ask you, in all the years of your career, has there ever been, what do you deem to be your toughest moment as an actor? Have you ever faced any difficulties or something that's very tough?
I recall a sequence in Satyam Shivam Sundaram.
Okay.
It's a sequence where Shashi Kapoor accuses his wife of being unfaithful because she's pregnant. Obviously, she's pregnant by him, but he doesn't believe that. And he drags her through the village into the temple, and he throws her, on the floor. And she slides and she's in front of the murtis, and he is accusing her very intensely. Ki batao kiske saath apna muh kala kiya hai.
Right.
So all the villagers rushed in. It's a very intense scene, because she is being wrongly accused, and she's crying and she's saying, no, I haven't. Now, in that sequence, it's a rather long tempo, and he had to throw me, and I had to slide on my belly right up to where the murti was.
Oh,
and it just wasn't happening. It just wasn't happening. I mean, I would reach halfway there, and that would be it, and it would be cut. And I would reach 3/4 of the way there, and Rajji would have to cut. And then he said to me, Larki, aise karo. And he was rather portly at the time.
Right.
But he slid right across the floor, right up to the knees. So he led by example. And that was a difficult moment. And then I figured, well, if he can do it, I'm sure I can. And I did.
Is there any character you refused and would still refuse to play based on your personal ethics and beliefs?
I don't think I had very many controversial characters to play. I mean, they were all sort of light and bubbly and airy-fairy. And, in the 70s, the girls were just, singing songs and not really doing much else, doing anything that was that relevant. So, no, not really.
We love all your films, Zeenat ji, and we all are your huge, huge fans.
Thank you, Anjali. That's very kind of you.
So tell me, Zeenat, was there an actor, for me, so I grew up watching Mitunda, and for me, the first time I did 4 films with him, and I was so nervous working with him. He was very nice, but I was so unnerved working with him. Was there any actor that you found probably perhaps at the early stages of your career that you found to be extremely unnerving, and you were uncomfortable working, or not uncomfortable is not the correct word, but just unnerved by?
Rajesh Khanna was known as the phenomenon.
Okay.
He was at the peak of his career. He had just married Dimple. And I think about 15, 16 girls had committed suicide all over the country when he actually got married. So when I actually worked with him on the sets of Ajnabi for the first time, I was just awestruck, completely awestruck, because he just had such huge hits like Aradhana, and working with Mumtaz and Sharmila Tagore, and I was so careful not to flub my lines and not to make any mistakes and to be so proper with everything that I did. I was very much in awe of him in that particular film.
So Rajesh Khanna is one of my favorite actors. I'm so sad that I never got to meet him during my time in India. And of course, how was your experience working with Amitji?
Amitji was always very punctual, very professional, very committed to the work at hand. I remember when we were shooting Khanke Pan Banaras Wala.
Yes.
The song was added at the end to Dawn, to the film Dawn.
Right.
The film was complete, and I think the writers, Javed Saab, Salim Saab, they felt that something was missing. So they suggested that there should be a song. So we added that song right at the end. And he was just not satisfied. It was, take after take after take after take till it was perfect. Yeah.
He's a perfectionist. Very professional. And a brilliant, brilliant actor. Excellent actor.
Yeah, for sure.
So, Zeenat, as a mother of two boys, what ethics and values you have instilled in them, and what were the priorities to give them high values and ethics?
Anjali, I think it's been about 22 years since their father passed away. So, the entire task of raising them was on me. And I tried to give them a good education because I think that's very important. And more than that, instill in them the right sense of values, to be respectful, to be courteous, to always look at every situation from the other person's perspective. And mostly they've been brought up by a very strong, independent woman. So to deeply, deeply respect women, which they do because it's what they've known their whole life. They've seen their mom. So they really value and respect all women, which I think is so important for all boys,
yes,
today in this time.
Indeed.
Absolutely, absolutely. We interviewed Kalpana, and she was so wise towards the end of the interview, where she said that every mother, her duty is to instill this not only in her daughter, but also her son, that you must respect women. You must, and even a girl must be taught certain values and beliefs and ethics, that how a woman should be treated, how a girl should be treated. How do you handle conflicts on sets? Because I remember like some on the spot, they would improvise and change the dialogues or change the script, or, all of a sudden they're saying, well, we're going to cut this part of you're not going to be in this scene. And I was like, what happened? All of a sudden it's always on the spur of the moment. So how did you handle those conflicts? They're inevitable.
Somy, just deal with it. Just deal with it, because it's the director's point of view. It's his vision. There's obviously a reason why they're doing that. Maybe the film is too long, the scenes are too long. Just deal with it.
Okay. So
but if something happens on set that you're not responsible for, and you get accused for that wrongly, then you stand up for that. I remember I was shooting for a film called Dostana with Yash Johar, who's Karan Johar's dad.
Right.
A well-known producer at the time.
With Amitji and Shatrughan Sinha, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. And Raj Khosla was the director. And since I lived in South Mumbai, and so did Yashi, we both drove in together. And we were shooting at the iconic Mehboob Studios,
Right.
um, doing some important scenes. And I got ready and I was waiting on my makeup. Now, Amit Chi came a little late that morning. Now, because he has a reputation of being so punctual, nobody could believe that he was late.
Right.
So he walked straight in from his car to the sets, and I was waiting to be called down. And I came down, and my director blasted me. He says, "You're late. You made everybody wait," and so on. I was gobsmacked because I had come in with the producer. I had been ready, and I had been waiting for a really long time. And I think I really got upset because everybody knew that was not the case. And it was the first time anybody had taken off on me like that.
Right.
And I left the set. Oh. And then, of course, Yashi came, Amit came, they came to the makeup room. They said, "Sorry, but there's a little personal problem the director has, and, excuse him." And we all know that it was, misplaced. So we ironed that out.
Well, an apology was required, and I'm glad that.
And the director did apologize. He apologized profusely, and that was that.
Isn't it amazing, Zeenat ji, how these wonderful old moments become memories in no time?
Anjali, all of life becomes a memory. You only have here and now. It's what you do in the here and now, that is here and now. Otherwise, our interview tomorrow will be a memory.
Yes. That's true.
So, Zeenat ji, as an actor, what do you deem more difficult performance-wise, comedy or drama, as in more serious roles?
Hands down, comedy is more difficult. Hands down, whether it's a situational comedy, you need the perfect timing, or whether the character is comic in itself, and the nuances, you just have to hit the right note every time. Drama is wonderful because it's just straightforward. It's you're dramatic, or with all the nuances of the tears and the pleas and the anger and all of that. I find drama very much more simpler than comedy.
Any favorite comedian actors that you like and appreciate?
I went to a convent school, and every Sunday they would show us Hollywood films. And yes, of course, Lucille Ball, Laurel and Hardy, Charlie Chaplin, the old greats. Yeah.
Carol Burnett, Lucille Ball, all of them. They were phenomena. They were legends. Amazing. So I want to ask you, because I experienced a very, very iota of this, because I only did 10 films, and of course my career was 8 years, and it's nothing compared to what you have obtained and achieved. But did you ever experience any maliciousness or cattiness where other female co-stars were trying to inadvertently or willingly trying to excel their careers by trying to steal roles from you? Or did you experience the utmost professionalism in your time there?
Somy, I never had a negative experience with any of my co-stars, and I worked with all of them. It was Hema Ji, Rekha, Shabana, Parveen, all the girls, and of course the leading men. I worked with the entire spectrum. The only thing was that if there was any rivalry, it was media created.
Okay,
the media created some huge rivalry between Parveen and myself.
Right.
And we did work together on 2 projects, Ashanti and Mahan. And there was absolutely no issue at all.
Right.
How did you and still do handle the rubbish tabloids under the guise of journalism?
Anjali, I think in many ways there was no social media, there was no trolling, there was no, the digital format didn't exist in the sense that it exists today. But, we started our careers, and the whole gossip magazine column started at the same time, whether it was Stardust or Cineblitz or, other magazines like that. And I found that the stuff that was written about me was just so not true. I mean, in one case, there was a 3-page article devoted to a relationship that I was supposed to be having with someone I'd never met in my life. So what I did in my mind, I know it was absurd. So what I did in my mind was that I completely detached myself. And I said, this is something that is created by the media, for the media, which has nothing to do with my reality. So let them write about whatever they want to. It's not about me. It's about some figment of their imagination. That's it.
It's like you're numb to it and you just block it out. It's as rubbish, as garbage, pretty much.
Yes.
And for such media, ignorance is a bliss.
Exactly. So my question to you, and this is my motto, and I think with age, I've become very jaded when it comes to mankind and human beings. And I think I've become less forgiving and less tolerant. What is your opinion in terms of, let's say if someone has ill intent and they've made a mistake, do you give them an opportunity to redeem themselves? Are you forgiving? Personally, I disassociate immediately because I'm too old to have people that are not real and that are toxic in my friend circle. I would rather have 1 or 2 friends than have toxic people in my life. But what is your motto? How do you feel about that?
So me, it's like this. I think everybody deserves a second chance. That's what I believe.
Okay.
I would give everyone one more chance.
Okay.
To negate what went before and do right by whatever it is meant to be.
Right.
But subsequently, that doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I do not like liars.
Right.
I do not like people who backbite, hypocrites.
Right.
And I don't suffer fools lightly either. And and if there is any toxicity, yes, I want it out of my life ASAP, immediately, right here, right now.
Yeah, so we're on the same page in that respect. I always say that everyone is great until they screw you over. That's my motto. That is my motto.
Yeah, no space for toxicity. Nobody wants it.
No negativity, exactly.
So on a lighter note, Zeenat, name few of your favorite movies, but not yours, because all your movies are our favorite.
Okay, Anjali, see, like I mentioned earlier, I'd been to a convent school, and every Sunday they would show us old Hollywood films. And there were all these wonderful classics like Dr. Zhivago, The Sound of Music, Cleopatra, Ben-Hur, all these wonderful, wonderful old films. And of course, I was very young, prepubescent, and I had a huge crush on Paul Newman because they showed us the silver chalice, and he was just so marvelous looking.
He was so handsome, so handsome.
Very handsome, very handsome. And yeah, I have nice memories of those Sunday afternoons when we saw these films. And of course, in Hindi films, subsequently, one like, my father wrote the screenplay of Mughal-e-Azam with K.
Wow.
And he participated in the dialogues and, classics like Pakiza, he wrote that as well. And The Guide with Devanand, Pearl S. Buck's Guide. These are all classic films which stand the test of time.
I enjoyed Breakfast at Tiffany's, and that was one of my favorites. And then I also loved in Hindi films, I loved Art and not too old, but The Lunchbox. I don't know if you had a moment to watch that.
Pakiza is my mom's favorite, and I have watched it several times. What a beautiful, iconic movie.
It was a beautiful film. So, Zeenat, what do you like to binge watch? I just finished Queen's Bandit on Netflix. It was such a good show. I don't know if you watched it. What do you like to watch?
No, I didn't watch Queen's Bandit, but now I will because since you enjoyed it so much.
So good.
I watched the last show I binge watched actually was Schitt's Creek.
Oh,
Yes, I know they won so many Oscars, right?
it was so funny. It was so funny. The sister played the role so well. It was her take on the Kardashians, and she like was amazing. She was so good.
I thought Catherine O'Hara was also so brilliant.
Oh, she was amazing. The words that she was using, I had to look them up in the dictionary. I think some of them were just made up. Anjali, you have to see this.
I have to watch now. I'm gonna
funny.
Go watch it.
So funny. It's phenomenal.
Then I saw Breaking Bad, and then I saw Emily in Paris.
I didn't see that. I didn't see Emily in Paris.
Some controversy about it now. I don't know what's going on.
I have to watch that.
I watch a lot of historical stuff too, related to World War I, World War II.
Oh, I love that. I love history.
Yeah. The story of Nazi Germany.
Right.
And what was happening at that time with Stalin, with Mussolini, and how history unfolded. The United Nations was formed.
Right.
And whatever went on. I find that very informative and very interesting. And I love to watch the Animal Planet.
Animal Planet is fun. That's always fun.
I love to watch documentaries on, I saw the octopus, right? It was so beautiful and so touching. That I watched on Netflix.
I didn't see that. I missed that. I have to watch it.
Yeah.
But if you like historical stuff, you should check out Ken Burns. He did an excellent documentary series on the Vietnam War. It's on Netflix. Check it out. It's by Ken Burns. It's really, really good. Really good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Documentaries, Somy and my favorite genre. We love documentaries, and we always.
I like documentaries too. I do.
India's Daughter was very good, Zeenat. I don't know if you saw India's Daughter. It was.
I haven't seen. I saw.
It was about the gang rape, the Delhi rape. It was about the Delhi rape. It was really good.
I haven't. I just kind of stay away from rape stories, Somy, because I get very deeply affected.
Yeah.
So anything like Delhi crime and things like that, I know that it's been very well made and very and applauded, but it really upsets me a lot.
Yeah.
So I haven't been watching stuff like that. I
get it. I get it, because with what I do all day long, I would rather watch Schitt's Creek, considering my work, which is horror all day long. I'd rather come home and watch Schitt's Creek. I get it. I totally get it.
It gets so heavy, right? Very heavy.
Yeah, but there's some, like the Sacred Games has been nice. Yeah. And Patal Lok, based on the story of my assassins, is also very interesting.
So on that note, Zeenat ji, what is your take on Me Too movement in India and US too?
See, I think the cultures are quite different in America and in India. It's very important for women who have been subjugated, victimized, or repressed or suppressed to communicate. You have to communicate. You have to talk about your plight. You have to find a way to set things right, whether it's with the authorities, whether it's with the women's group of activists. But, in India, I think Kalpana had also said this, the mindset is so patriarchal. Mm-hmm. And the repercussions are so severe because the perpetrators have no conscience. They threaten this, there's criminal intimidation. There's fear instilled not just into the victim, but to the girls' families. There have been cases where the family has been murdered, the girl has been murdered. I mean, when everything comes to play, it becomes very difficult, for the family to stand up and participate in something like Me Too, because their lives are at stake.
Right.
So this is the society, unfortunately, that we live in India. And that's what has been happening for the past year or so in this country.
Really sad.
Well, that's it's an extension of what Anjali asked you. We're in 2021, and it still baffles me to this day that there are crimes against the LGBTQ community. There's still domestic violence, and people are getting away with. There's such a stigma attached to. Yes, we have progress. We have had vast progress. But we're not where I would like to see the world, and I know where Anjali and yourself would like to see the world. We're not there yet as women, and even boys get abused, men get abused as well. So what is this stigma about? Why as a culture, and it's not just South Asia, not India, Pakistan, and South Asia. It's even in America. There's this stigma attached to blaming the victims, or no, there's someone in the family that's sexually abusing a child, sweep it under the rug, let's not talk about it. There was a beautiful movie back in the day called Monsoon Wedding, which addressed sexual abuse. I don't know if you saw it. I forget.
I've seen Monsoon Wedding, yes.
Yeah, I think it was Mira who did it. I forget.
Mira Nair
did it. It was a beautiful movie, but I think it was the first time they addressed sexual abuse in the Indian cinema. But what can we do as a society, in your opinion, Zeenat, to be more vocal? What can we do to bring forth change? Where do you think where is the level where we need to reach to bring forth that change?
So any kind of change is started, with discussion.
Right.
With conversation. You have to talk. People have to be aware. I mean, you have to have a society where you live and let live. Right. And I don't know how quickly this is going to be successful in India, because it is a very conservative society.
Right.
But you have to start talking about it. And I know that in Mumbai we have a film festival for the LGBT community, where films are, displayed based on subjects. And I worked on several films, that have emphasized these relationships. And one has to work towards making it normal. It's a personal preference, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it's you can't hate someone for loving someone. That's how I like to say it. It's preposterous and ludicrous to have so much animosity and hatred for someone just based on their sexual orientation. It's really sad, and it's heartbreaking. And I hope to see that we are around and we witness to see a world where there's no domestic violence and no human trafficking and no hatred. And I know I like to dream big, and I like to stay optimistic. So hopefully we do end up seeing, progression as we move forward in our lives. Hopefully,
Somy.
Yeah, fingers crossed, and I'm into that.
Yeah.
If there were 3 things you had the power to change universally, what would they be?
Actually, there'd be 4, Anjali.
Okay.
And there'd be 4.
More the better.
I think basically everybody deserves roti, kapda, or makan. And along with roti, kapda, or makan, an absolute essential is education.
Yes.
Because education gives you a tool that you can use to navigate your way in the world, one way or the other. And now everything, the globe has become a very small place, because there you are in Miami, and here I am in Mumbai, and within seconds we're communicating with each other.
It's phenomenal.
It is
phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
So these are the 4 things I'd want everybody to have access to.
That's beautiful. Well said. Well said. So So tell us about the little girl that you were. Were you mischievous? Were you studious? Were you obedient? Were you a good kid? Were you getting in trouble all the time? What did little baby Zeenat get in trouble for?
Somy, I was very mischievous. I was in a boarding school, and because I was so naughty, they decided that the only way to channelize that naughty energy was to give me responsibility. So I ended up being prefect and head girl and studying and getting straight A's and winning a scholarship to Southern California.
Wow.
That really turned around. It turned around.
It did a complete 180. Yeah.
Because of the responsibility I was given. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So Zeenat, have you ever considered writing a memoir or an autobiography?
So me, like most of us, I have been approached by several publishing houses to write, and several documentary filmmakers and Hollywood producers to do a biopic. I'm just so not sure about this.
Well, because what is their motive? That's what I asked. Because Simon and Schuster India approached me to do a memoir, and I was questioning their motives because having been in the industry, I was wondering, okay, well, if I were to write a memoir, I would like it to be published with an American publishing company, not India, for obvious reasons, and I don't need to elaborate on those reasons, but you understand what I'm talking about. So that's why I've been reluctant, because what are their motives, right?
Right. No, well, it's not just that. It's just how much of yourself do you really want to put out there?
Right.
Because, I've had one hell of a journey with a lot of ups and downs, absolute roller coaster ride. And do I want to share my entire journey with everybody? I'm not sure.
But I must commend you, Zeenat. One of my favorite interviews, and Anjali saw it too, was the interview that you did with Simi. It was in 1999. It was exactly the year I had left and moved back to America. And do you recall that interview? It was so beautiful, and it was so authentic and so original and so heartfelt, and it felt like it was coming right from your heart. It was perhaps one of my favorite interviews I've ever seen. It was beautiful.
I do remember my interview with Simi.
I watched that interview, and the morning I woke up, I was like, Somy, I couldn't stop thinking about Zeenat ji. We must schedule some interview. We must get her on JAC. Thank you so much, Zeenat ji, for accepting to come on JAC. It is absolute pleasure and honor to have you on our talk show.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Anjali. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. Take care. Bye-bye.